Hello, welcome to the Mediator. This is your host, Jonah St. Cloud. Glad you decided to join us for our first ever podcast. This episode, I just kind of want to give you a rundown of how this show is going to operate and, what it is we'll be discussing and so forth. But let me start with why I decided to start this podcast in the first place. Ever since the last presidential election, I look around and I'm just so distraught by the amount of anger and hatred, people on both sides of the aisle seem to have for each other. And I'm really good at calling bullshit regardless of whether there's an R or a D next to someone's name. So, I decided I wanted to make my voice heard. And then, I'm sick of all the hypocrisy in politics and just general ideological inconsistency. And, that's why this podcast is called The Mediator. We wanted to provide nonpartisan, solutions and answers based solely in fact. Call it like we see them. So let me tell you about a bit about me personally. I'm fairly young, though I don't plan on telling you how young, but I currently hold a full-time 9-to-5 desk job at a lovely little insurance business in Cincinnati, Ohio. No family as of yet, but eventually, how it goes. I'm a really positive kind of guy, so I watch a lot of uplifting, inspirational type videos. There's this guy, Prince EA, on YouTube, and I watch him all the time. He's phenomenal. Also, I do a lot of singing. That's kind of my pastime. Singing at churches and various venues. Just depending on what comes up. I'm a Netflix junkie, so I blew through That 70s Show in probably about 2 weeks. Same with How I Met Your Mother, Bates Motel, House of Cards, Family Guy, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Black Mirror, most of Criminal Minds, Psych, American Dad, BoJack Horseman, Walking Dead, and just other, just random stuff that's just on Netflix. And I'm almost through Parks and Rec, which is hilarious, obviously, with Amy Poehler and all that kind of good stuff. So, but anyway, yeah, so for this show, we're going to be having 3 shows a week, basically, to begin with, and hopefully that'll grow. But on Mondays, with the exception of this show, will be, with the exception of today's show, will be Memes Day. That's kind of the term I've dubbed for it. Basically, there's these 2 pages on Facebook, Occupy Democrats and the other 98%. These 2 pages, I swear, just pump out all this nonsense propaganda, and it's just the worst thing. And I always comment on it and, start shit every time I see it. And I'm just going to dissect them and kind of explain why they're horribly wrong most of the time, right? I'll try to find a right-wing one as well, but I haven't really seen a meme producer that reaches their level of egregious on the right. So, it just kind of sporadically comes on that side from my experience. But I'll keep looking because I'm nothing if not fair. So anyway, our Wednesday shows will be News Wednesday. I'll kind of be commenting on the big topics of the last week and giving you my 2 cents and providing you with all the facts that are available as I know them. And then our Friday shows are fun, Fact Fridays. So pretty much I'll just run through a whole bunch of facts that people wouldn't have necessarily known before. So, for example, this Friday, I'm going to be running through just kind of all the actions that the Trump administration has performed so far. Just kind of let you know where I stand on things and all that kind of stuff and get a little feel for me. But then the week after that, I'm going to do one on the cabinet. And then a few weeks from now, I plan on doing one on Turkish politics and, kind of just a modern Turkish government and issues that they've had in the last 100 years or so. Because I know there was this issue semi-recently between them and the Netherlands, and it's hard to understand exactly why that is relevant or, important, or why they're acting as they're acting without really understanding what is leading up to, what they have been leading up to for the last 100 years. But anyway, yeah, so I'm going to be digging into those kind of things every Friday. Anyway, yes, thank you all for listening. Please visit us on Patreon, patreon.com/themediator, so Patreon.com/themediator. SagaChefStories.com/themediator, all one word. I would very much like to grow this podcast to 5 days a week, have a video show, live questions, the whole 9 yards. We can only get that accomplished with your help. So our official website is SagaChefStories.com/content. So that's SagaChefStories.com/content. SagaChef Stories has been kind enough to produce for us, as well as, houses on their website. So a big shout out and thank you to them. But there you can find archives of all our podcasts once we actually produce them. Updates from me personally, and much, much more as the show grows. On the site, there is a contact page as well, so I welcome you to, actually encourage you to go on there and submit your feedback, and I'll try to respond as quickly as I can. Obviously, busy work week, but I'll do my best to get to anyone who wants to give their 2 cents about how this show is going. But anyway, again, thank you to everyone who joined us for our pilot show today. I hope you'll join us again on Wednesday for our first ever news show. So, I'm Jonah Sinclair, and this has been The Mediator.